one person into 3 people are affected with mental health issues, whether ni stress, whether ni trauma or anything else. Hiyo rate kama imeweza kushuka to that point, then the fear is in the coming days, coming years, it might go to 1:1. I've had breakdowns, several, I won't lie. And this is also for the purpose of people learning. I've had breakdowns to a point that I close myself in a room and probably shed tears. I've had breakdowns to a point that I'll need a break, go somewhere far, but still end up serving the community. Many organizations have volunteers, but they end up becoming a burden for the organization. Many organizations have volunteers, but the volunteers don't grow. Many organizations have volunteers who have mental health issues, who don't have jobs, who don't have food at home, but the organizations go out to help others, while their own volunteers are actually suffering. Girls go to an extent of using cow dogs. It's been in the news. Girls go to an extent of digging holes at an extreme heat environment. They sit over the hole, so menses that is supposed to end in 6-7 days, they complete within 3 days. Let us use social media wisely. Let us use social media to promote happiness to others. We, in our field, we do also use sad social media contents so that we can touch the hearts of the communities, of other people.
Greetings everyone, I hope you guys are having a lovely time. Welcome to Life in Focus, where we explore moments that truly matter to us. As you may have noticed, today we are not in studio. We have gone out, we have pitched our tents in an office of a man who I know. The moment you see him on your screens, you will definitely know him by his name. As his bio on Instagram says, work hard until you do not have a reason to introduce yourself anymore. I'm speaking of none other than Mr. Dr. Rafik Rauf, the founder of Marafiki Aid Relief, and he's here in studio to talk to us all about Marafiki and what he's all about. Karibu sana daktari.
Asante sana.
Please introduce yourself.
Yes, as rightly said, from Mr. Just recently we converted into Doctor.
Doctor, yes.
I'm Rafik Rauf. Full name is Muhammad Rafik Rauf. I've been working for the communities for about, I'd say precisely 25 years plus. Been joining different organizations and compiled with all those years of experiences. Now we have our own organization called Marafiki Relief Aid Africa that has its activities being done in Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, and we are also looking into, as the name says, all around the Africa. We do more of community upliftment programs and mostly changing the mentality of the community. That's the main responsibilities.
That's really amazing. Now let's go back to the fact that you are now daktari. Sasa wewe ni daktari wa kitu gani? So please tell us more about that.
Yes, so what normally happens is that you can join a university and do a course, end up getting a doctorate in medicine or doctorate in something else. So for me, all those years of experiences, the universities actually did a research on me, research on the work that I've been doing for the community, the impact of all that work and its results as well, which ended up to a conclusion that they should honor an honorary degree of doctorate. In fact, I just received that about 2 months ago.
Wow.
And yes, so I've received a doctorate on community service and leadership, because of the experiences and the impact as well in the results.
That's really amazing. I saw you also refer to yourself as a philanthropist and a leader.
Yes.
Speaking of philanthropy, tell us a little something about that.
Okay, philanthropy is basically serving the community, giving out about yourself. And in all these years, you won't believe I actually work in a company where I get salary. And from the salary that I get, I invest in the community.
Wow.
And that's how we've been surviving for years and years. I believe when you give out is when you give, you get in. And at first we had that fear, or I had that fear of where would you get the money. Then I came to realize that everything does not revolve around money. So you can actually give out a lot of education, a lot of knowledge, which will end up people benefiting and being self-dependent. So yes, as an organization, we do need a lot of support, a lot of donors, but again, because of the years of experiences and a good, hard-working team, we are able to serve the community in a sense that we cannot depend on, say, huge funding. So whatever we get, we do, and whatever extra we can receive from donors or supporters, then that is how we serve the communities.
That's really amazing. Talking about now community service and Marafiki, what are the activities that Marafiki actually involves itself in?
Yeah, so the activities that we do, I'd say they are in four main categories. One is community upliftment. So in community upliftment, we do anything that makes the community depend on themselves. For instance, creating job employment. So creating job employment, how? By teaching you how to fish. Okay. So we'll teach carpentry. Currently we have tailoring projects, which we recently launched in Voi through one of our partners, Dear Diary Initiatives. And this weekend we are also launching another one in Tana River. So through this is how you create job employment and opportunities by uplifting communities. Our second project that we are looking at is period poverty. Now, period poverty is something that has been ongoing for years and years. And God forbid it might continue. Period poverty is a state where a girl cannot afford to buy sanitary pads. And the research that we've been doing is that girls go to an extent of using cow dogs. It's been in the news. Girls go to an extent of digging holes at an extreme heat environment. They sit over the hole. So menses that is supposed to end in 6-7 days, they complete within 3 days. And it's there in our documentaries as well. We have girls who use cushions, mattresses, t-shirts, and when you go to such communities and ask them, how do you want us to help you, they'll tell you, bring us sanitary pads, because that's the only mentality that they know. Forgetting that our foremothers used to use reusable pads. So we did a research, we went back to the framework, drawing board, and it's not something that we've created, but we emphasized on reusable pads. So currently we only deal with reusable pads, and that is what we do through tailoring centers. So far we've distributed in Mandera, Garissa, Tana River, Kilifi, Mombasa, reusable pads that last for 4 years, one reusable pad. Wow. The third project that we deal is water and sanitation. So areas where you want to uplift communities, they don't have water, they have stress of their basic need. You can't go and start implementing other new ideas. So you need to support their basic needs first. So what we do, we create boreholes. Okay. And not everywhere that you can create boreholes. There are some places where you have to make water pans. You can't drill. So we do boreholes, we do water pans. So far we've done almost close to 30 boreholes. in a span of, I'd say, 2 or 3 years. And we do this mainly on areas where people don't have access to clean water. They fetch water from the ponds where elephants, antelopes and other wild animals drink from. If you see that water, it's close to the milk tea. So that is how people survive, and we have the documentation as well. The fourth section that we deal with is food. In food, you wouldn't believe we've gone to communities where people pluck grasses and they boil and they eat grass.
Wow.
People pluck branches of trees and leaves from the trees, they boil and eat. So such extreme poverty levels, where are other organizations, where is the media that they cannot cover it up, you know? So it raises questions, and we've gone to those extreme areas. Just recently we came from fasting month of Ramadan, and we've gone to communities where people, they pluck cactus fruits and they eat cactus. We've tried, I'll share probably the links, or maybe the viewers can also see. When plucking out the cactus, whether you like it or not, you'll have several thorns in your fingers. And they're really painful. Small thorns. So they eat cactus, they eat leaves, they eat grasses. Humans live like animals. They drink water from water pans, brown color water. You'll even feel ashamed. We had our own mineral water in our vehicles. You'll feel ashamed to drink mineral water in front of them. You rather stay thirsty until you come out of that area. You know? And coming out of the area, it's also tricky because we spend hours and hours, sometimes nights, in the community. So yeah, we do things with food. So what we do, instead of giving them unga, we show them how to do farming. And many people, they think you cannot do farming in drought affected areas. We have farm. This is one of the longest project that we've done. We have a farm in one of the drought affected area in Bamba. Bamba is a red zone for drought. We have a farm that serves, currently it's about 2-year-old. And we have pickups that come in that farm. They gather vegetables and go sell them. So imagine the amount of vegetables that they grow. We have farm in Tana River. That is also one of the drought affected areas. So farming is a solution, not giving them flour. Today you'll give them, who will give them tomorrow? See?
Good question.
And then the other projects that we do is mental health. So in mental health, this is something that is connected with each and everything in our life. Whether it's food, whether it's basic needs, whether it's talks, relationships, everything is connected with mental health. And we have some surprising facts about mental health. Probably we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we also try and do as much as we can. They're not only limited to these projects. Anything related to humanity or even animal, we deal with everything related to them.
That's really, really amazing. So the first time we had an interaction, we were discussing things to do with mental health. And when we had a sit down, you gave me very surprising facts of what is happening in the world. Yeah, as an artist, as a person, I am aware things are not right. But sitting with you, it actually hit me that things are really, really going south. So tell us a little bit about what is the state of our country right now when it comes to mental health.
So I've been going around with different stakeholders advocating about mental health. And I can remember the first time that I used to go around in different counties or sub-counties, and we used to give a statistic. This is a statistics of about 20 years ago, where it was 1:10 people being affected with mental health issues. And the recent one that I went about 1 year ago or 2 years ago, the statistics was 1:3. So imagine from 1:10, imeshuka chini to 1:3.
Yeah.
One person into 3 people are affected with mental health issues, whether ni stress, whether ni trauma or anything else. Hiyo rate kama imeweza kushuka to that point, then the fear is in the coming days, coming years, it might go to 1:1. What is the main problem? People don't care. We don't anymore care about each other. We used to live in a society where ukilala nyumbani na njaa, your neighbor probably senses. We've gone through that personally.
Yeah.
Your neighbor senses that huku hakujatoka harufu ya chakula kupikwa.
Hawajapika leo. Yeah.
And they realize, leo mbona taa imezimwa mapema. So there's something wrong. So neighbors used to calculate, and slowly you realize that there's a knock and there's some food that has arrived. But these days we live in apartments where we don't even know who our neighbor is.
True.
Hii system ya nyumba kumi and probably all that, we used to have another system of 40 houses. In our religion is that you have to look at 40 houses, right, left, forward and backwards. You need to know them. You need to have a good relationship with them. Nothing is happening. People are only looking at themselves. And it might be one of the challenges that they are facing because of mental health issues. The more you sleep hungry, the more you are affecting your mind.
Yeah.
The more you are compressing your nerves. So I think mental health issue has been ongoing for years. And we need to look at it not only on the adult perspective, but also for the children. I've come across so many children who are affected with mental health because of probably the parents. You see, most of the times we think that they are kids. This is nothing that would affect them. They still don't have the ability to understand. But at such age, you'll find that they have poor performances in school.
Yeah.
They are not active anymore. They cannot even express themselves. You see, why? Because they feel compressed. They are learning from the adults. When you sit in front of a kid and you are already traumatized, you are already feeling low, the kid is learning from you. That's the best person that the kid will learn from. Not probably the social media. In the social media, the kids these days, we give them phones. The youths, we give them phones. Someone is in secondary, high school, primary school. They are using phones. They learn from the social media. Fake life. People who portray themselves as they are happy, but behind the scene, they're having a sad life. So I think mental health issue needs to be advocated more and more. For that reason, we have also spearheaded on the same by having clubs in schools where we go and train them or teach them about mental health issues. I personally am a PTSD counselor. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's one of the form of counseling that handles the extreme cases of mental health. For example, suicidal cases. I have so many friends who have gone through such state. You'll realize that leo unazungumza na mtu, tomorrow that person was trying to commit suicide. So I've got so many calls, in fact, that certain person is at Nyali Bridge. Certain person has kept or maybe ate poison. So it's challenging, it's hard. In fact, when you talk to these people, you are removing their stress out, but you are pulling it towards yourself.
Yeah, just to cut you a little bit. Speaking of that, because I know it has gotten to a point where even KMTC has introduced a course on things to do with psychology and whatever. But now, speaking from the perspective of somebody who has actually handled these cases, how do you get to a point where you're reliving that now? How do you do that?
So it's actually challenging, it's hard, I'll be open. This is for the betterment of even those who are trying to help others. I've had breakdowns, several, I won't lie. And this is also for the purpose of people learning. I've had breakdowns to a point that I close myself in a room and probably shed tears. I've had breakdowns to a point that I'll need a break, go somewhere far, but still end up serving the community. You see? So one thing that has actually helped me in handling the stresses of others is community service. Because when you go to the community and when you serve them, you are seeing the issues that they are related to and going through. Now, I hardly sleep. I hardly have a break. I don't remember when I had a Sunday off with probably family. And if I have a Sunday off with family, I end up making them do community service. So we have so many things to be done.
Yeah.
So what I'd say, it's very dangerous, but the way I've been surviving is that I've kept myself busy to a point that if you make me free for one day, I might start reflecting on a lot of problems.
Wow.
And it will bring me down. So I've been so busy to a point that I don't have time to focus on my own mental health issues. You see? If I sit down and probably open up about myself, it will take a lot of breakdowns. You see? But in a way, they get relieved slowly by slowly through this community work, through community services. Sometimes I get calls in the middle of night, someone going through something, you need to help. If you go to probably, and I respect everyone's profession, if you go to a doctor or a psychiatrist or a counselor, they take you around for months, for weeks on counseling. I'd say one of the best ways of counseling someone related to mental health issues is indulge them in community service. That through experience, I've realized that I've helped, or we've helped so many people, and it won't even take months. Indulge them in community service, 1 or 2 activities, and the stress is half gone. You see? So one of the other areas where people also fail is you are not giving that safe space for your partner, for your relative, for your friend to speak. Half of the problems are also solved when you just speak it out.
You just open up.
Yeah.
Ongei kutoke. That is the word they use these days.
But we don't have the space.
So a question that is also related to that. As a young counselor, growing up, not even growing up, like when you were starting out, the now talking to people, getting to help others to deal with their mental health struggles, how did that start? Where did you get to your point, to your life, and you're like, okay, yeah, I want to be helping these people?
I remember there was a time when we were going to serve the community in Mwakirunge, and it came in news. So we first went, we were doing some food distributions, and we realized that there's a household where mama ilikuwa amechemsha something kwa sufuria. Asking the kids, wait, the food is boiling, once ready I'll serve you. So there were 3 kids, wamengoja mpaka they went to sleep. Then we came to realize that was a tactic. The mother was actually boiling stones so that the kids sleep with the hope and they stop crying that there is food, I'll eat eventually. You see? And then in the morning, watasort kama ni something, another lie or something. So that is a state where people go through and imagine the trauma that the mother is going through. So again, when we do community service, you realize that the community doesn't only need food, they don't only need water, they actually also need health, which is the mental health. So actually kept ourselves into trainings, and we said, let us, because we are going to the community, let us also look in the aspect of mental health. And whenever we go to the community, we make sure we talk about mental health.
Yeah.
We do food distribution at nights, and this we do food distribution to people who work and they sleep at night. And when you realize and sit down with such people, you realize that they are going through one of the worst mental health conditions. People actually want to give up their lives, but they cannot because they have people depending on them.
So they're technically living their life for others.
I wouldn't say living, I'd say surviving.
Surviving, because they need to take care of others.
And this is something that I've always talked about. People these days don't live, people survive, which is really heavy. And they survive because of us. We as human beings, ingekuwa kila mtu ameumbwa na dunia yake.
Yeah.
You would have been living in Venus, I would have been living in Mars, alone.
Yeah.
But there's a purpose why we are all created in one world. There might be other worlds, but in this world, as long as we are there with each other, we have a purpose amongst each other. But we are living as strangers. We are strangers in reality in this world, but we have a purpose. I need to know, are you okay?
Yeah.
We greet each other, good morning. What is good about the morning?
Yes, good question.
You see?
Yeah.
And how are you? Oh, I'm fine. Out of 100%, 99%, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. People are lying.
Yeah.
In reality, people are lying. You've had breakfast. I didn't have breakfast. How do you know about that?
Okay.
And if you know, how are you going to help me? You're having your own stress.
Yeah,
That's
true,
right.
true.
So I think this is one of very big challenge, and the more we don't look into it, as I said, I fear it might be 1:1.
No, I do not want us to get to 1:1, and that is why I want to ask you this question. For somebody who is watching us right now, and they're like, okay, I want to help people. I want to be an advocate for people. I want to, help somebody who's in that state of mental health, illness, or that kind of condition. What is the first step for them?
The first and the easiest step, Noni, is to have patience.
Okay.
And to have, to practice confidential or confidentiality. There's this, it's in the word, in the Kiswahili language, umbea.
Watch
umbea is not good.
Yeah.
To become someone, you don't need to become a counselor actually to counsel someone or to solve someone's problem. You just need to practice some of the qualities, and some of the top qualities is that you have to be a confidential person.
Okay.
You have to create that safe environment for me to trust you. And you can't practice that only with me, while with others you practice opposite.
Yeah.
So I'll understand if you can go and talk about something or someone else to someone else, and you're not talking about me, I still have that insecurity that I can't open up to you. And many of the times when we open up, we end getting, or we end being judged.
Yeah.
And this also happens in the families, you see. And because of one or two stresses, family members, they don't live as families anymore. You see. Because family is what? You open up. You be open to your family. So as if you find out that the man of the house does not bring in money, another Raulio. You see. The woman of the house probably is going through her own mental health conditions. Now she's not taking care of maybe one or two responsibilities. She's being stressed even more.
Yeah.
You see. So the first basic need of handling mental health is sit down and listen. How many of us have actually sat down with their fathers? How many of us have sat down with their mothers? If I, as an individual working, can go through working stress relationships or stress matters with my probably employer or other staff. You know, when you are working, there's a lot of stress going on. The stress that you have at work, you come back at home, you have probably one or two other responsibilities or stress going on.
Yeah.
Where would you share them out? So people don't sit down with their relatives, father, mother, siblings, living even about the family. People, so many people are into relationships. Have you ever sat down with your partner and asked your partner, today I want to listen to you, and I want you to talk to me about anything that is affecting you? It's more harder for a man to open up.
Yeah.
It's more easier for a woman to open up.
Yeah, we do all the time.
But when you ask the man,
Yeah.
I'm here to listen to you, and you keep quiet and you wait for the response, it might take 15 minutes, but trust me, when the man has realized that you actually are ready to wait and listen, they will open up with some small wordings or key points, just to test the waters. And the more patience you have, you won't trust. There are so many things that you'll come to realize that are actually happening in the mind of a man that you didn't realize before. And it's actually a scary part. The mind of a man is actually scary. I've tried and counseled so many men. It's more easier to counsel, I'd say, the women than the men. Although they still open up because of the trust relation that we have. But it's more easier for the women. You see? So in the same sense, many of the times we sit down with our family members, ask them, you know, talk to me about something, share something, and they might talk, you know, just anything. It might not make sense, but at that point you need to realize that they are not making sense, maybe because of their own mental health conditions.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of challenges, but the basic thing is listening.
Now, previously you talked about how media, social media is affecting us mentally, because we will be on social media and see somebody who's living life to the fullest, and you're like, okay, we are the same age with this person, how did they get here? But I also feel that media and social media itself at large has a role to play if we want to, you know, reduce these figures. 1:3, let's get to 1:5 in the next 2 years. So what do you think the media, what do you think we should do?
So, Noni, there's a purpose of everything. And there's the good part and the negative part of it.
Yeah.
I give you a knife. How would you use the knife? You can use it by chopping vegetables, making food out of that. You can use it by probably terrorizing someone and probably even killing someone. So the same thing happens with the social media. And I think, unfortunately, because there's not that proper guidance of social media to our youths, or probably the youngsters, or even the adults, the social media has lately been used in a negative perspective. When you are sad and you listen to sad songs, it's going to affect you even more.
Wow. So happy songs do make people happy.
Happy songs actually make people happy. Happy videos make you happy. You're watching, you're going through a breakup, and you talk about breakups and something. If you realize, probably our viewers can also make a test on this, when you are having a conversation and you start blaming and start complaining about life and everything, the next time you enter into your social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook or something, you'll get contents of something related to sadness.
True.
Or blames or quotes. Many people, when they go through probably breakups and something like that, you'll find in their statuses posting about breakups, posting quotes about breakups and so many other stuff. and then waiting for viewers, waiting for likes, waiting for comments. And that is how we think we are supporting our own mental health. But in reality, we are damaging ourselves more and more. So the right way is, when you are sad, look for things that are being or can make you happy. Go. Nature is the best therapy. Use social media, go to the nature, take some photos, upload, post, enjoy your life. See? When you are viewing, when you are scrolling, when you see something sad, at that time probably you don't need it, just scroll it out.
Past it.
Live your life. Someone should not program you to feel sad. You are actually responsible of your own happiness and sadness. Don't depend on probably your partner. Many people fail at that point. And there was a point or a time when I had such a breakdown is I was made to understand that you are the cause of your own happiness or sadness, not the other human being. If you decide to be sad, mtu akikwambia you are crazy, or maybe you are stupid, na wewe umeenda nyumbani, umelala, you are not having this, proper peace, you are having sleepless nights just because kuna mtu mahali aliniambia mimi ni mjinga. And because of that you start stressing yourself and you say, oh, mimi niliambiwa mjinga. Yani mimi all my life, all my studies, I feel so stupid. Why did that person tell me something like that? Why? Because we are accepting whatever is going on to affect us and to program us into resulting to other things. And the more you become sad, the more it's going to affect you. So let us use social media wisely. Let us use social media to promote happiness to others. We, in our field, we do also use sad social media contents so that we can touch the hearts of the communities, of other people, you see. And I wouldn't also encourage people, youths, especially youths, to always be happy. You have to be sad to realize the test of life. And if you don't go through stresses, we are talking about mental health, I wouldn't also advise that we as humans live without any stress. Because the moment stress comes to you, you'll be traumatized. Because hujazoea. You're not used to sadness. And I've come across so many youths who don't know how to handle sadness. They freeze. And some of them probably they get into a relationship, they have a partner, your partner cries and you are seated there, you don't know what to do. And you have actually frozen. That is the worst feeling for that partner. Because they look at you as a narcissist.
You do not know how to console.
You don't know how to console. You don't even know that probably you can touch your partner and tell your partner, it's okay, I'm here to listen. But that stone-faced, emotionless, reaction is going to make it even worse to the partner.
Now, yes, I get you. Now, this leads me to this question. What is the perfect mental health? Is there something like that? Like, how do I know that I'm actually all right? Because at this point, we are all going through sadness, we're all going through happy things, but how do I get to a point where I'm okay, only you're fine now?
I'd say different humans compared to different capabilities have their own different levels of mental health. The mental health state that I am at might not be the state that you would be able to handle. Your state might not be the state that I would be able to handle, you see. So everyone has their different levels of mental health. The more responsibilities you take up, whether business-wise, family-wise, social-wise, the more mental health stress that you are expected to handle. You see? I'll give you an example. Someone amemaliza form 4 juzi. Umweke katika position yangu na responsibilities zangu, that person will break down.
True. True.
because my responsibilities indulge a lot of stress. But at my level, I'm used to that. I've handled that, you see. And maybe there's someone who is even probably above my own level, which I haven't reached at that level yet. So I'd say the perfect mental health is for as long as you had a peaceful sleep, you've woken up, you've had a peaceful breakfast or meal, and you are able to do one or two other activities involving your own personal health as well. Probably walk, exercise, doesn't have to go to the gym, something related to nature, have a few minutes of break, you know, something for yourself, peaceful sleep, something good to eat, you know, and at least sources of income, or something that you can survive with. Those are basic mental health. Hizo zengine, there are things that now you are adding up with stress and responsibilities. Nimekuletea sima, wewe umeniambia mimi siwezi kukula sima, me I want to eat wali na iwe na nyama hapo ndani. It's not that ukila sima utakufa, but because you have kept yourself in a position that you want to go through those stresses. Na ile siku kama kuna wali or ile siku ambao kuna sima, probably you feel frustrated and you feel traumatized. If there are families where if the family members or the kids suddenly they start eating sima and wamezoea kula chapati, mkate, blue band, suddenly because of financial stress wameanza kula sima, you will be traumatized. Where have I made my family rich? But there are communities where sima is a luxury food for them. You see? So mental health is how we handle it. And I'd say the perfect mental health condition is changing human to human on how they live, how to they bring up themselves, you know. Many people think that probably taking to a big school for their kids is an achievement. Some of them, they know that I need this basic school and the rest of the education's life in a funish. You see? So I think there's nothing as perfect mental health, because mimi nitakuelezea my perfect mental health and the person wants to become like my position. You see? And this is something I also emphasize on. Many people look upon actors, influencers, and other beings that I want to become kama yule. You can never become as the other person. You can never become. Even twins hawaku hivyo. Kwa sababu if you want to become like me, you have to live like me. You have to think like me. You have to eat like me. Because what you eat is what is going to program your behaviors. It's going to program your mind and everything. You will eat like me. You will sleep like me. You will walk, talk, everything like me. But how will you think like me? Which will eventually make you become like me. So you should never look into becoming like someone else. Become your self-inspiration. Be a better version of yourself. Why become like someone else? That is fake.
We are at Marafiki Aid Relief Africa offices, and seated with us is Dr. Rafik Rauf, still on the conversation on mental health and what Marafiki Aid Relief Africa does. I asked a question on perfect mental health, and you told me kila mtu akona perfection yake. Whatever you can handle, that is your perfection. As long as you can handle that, that is you. Now, when we were having a discussion during the pre-visit, you told us that Marafiki is working hand in hand with Shimolatewa to advise, to counsel those who were previously jailed, and when they're being released to the community, they can be ready for what they are supposed to face. So a question to you, what do you think about the stigma these people face? Because you were jailed for a reason. That's a fact. You were jailed for a reason. You did a mistake, but you've done your term. What would you tell a person who's experiencing stigma, especially because of what they did previously?
This is a responsibility that we took up recently, and again, it's an honor through the years of experience that we are now part of a committee dealing with mental health issues. I'd say the welfare committee of Shimolatewa prisons, and we are looking into the aspect where the inmates or the prisoners, before they are released, there are certain talks or sessions that they'll be having to prepare them, I'd say, for the outside world. And there are previous experiences where you'll find, even when we go and visit them, we have talks with them, and they're having high fear in regards to how are they going to face their communities, how are they going to face their families. And most of them, in reality, is that when they go back to the community, they are not being accepted. They are being stigmatized in regards to probably the crime that they've gone through. And many of times it's because of their mental health condition has resulted into that particular act, which they have technically received the punishment for. And they're supposed to come back as a fresh. But we in the communities end up pulling them with their background, with their back experiences, and still label them with the old crime. So it becomes very hard. And most of them, they even opt not to go back to the same community, not to go back to the same families, and they go somewhere or another county to live their lives. So what we are doing is to sit down with them, mentally prepare them, and if need be, also sitting down with the families, so that we have a conversation and see how best they can be accepted. And for that as well, because umekaa probably gerezani for years and years, then you also need to look for a job or job opportunities. And who will give you a job when they realize that ulikuwa umefungwa? You see? So there's a lot of stigmatization, especially regarding the prisoners. And this is something that we should also look into as organizations, in what aspect can we help them, or as government, how can we help the prisoners getting reaccepted back to the communities.
All right. So how, according to you, what would be the best strategy to reintegrate these people into the community?
I think in this field of mine already, if we could have more job opportunities coming up. I do get a lot of offers of job opportunities from different companies to give them people trusted. So we have a forum, a WhatsApp forum, where we have companies sending in private that they need such and such employees. And then we post, we survey, and then we submit the names. If we could get more job opportunities being created, so that it's easier when you go to a prison and you talk to them, you know, actions would speak louder. So watakwambia, yeah, you are giving us morale, motivation, but in reality tukikanyaga nje, who is going to give us a surety that job ziko? You see? Already, as you see, every year hundreds of thousands of students complete schools, high schools. Most of them don't even join universities. They want jobs. Ikiwa wewe ambao umeishi kwa miaka na miaka, you are not getting jobs, how are they going to get their jobs? So I think something that we need is creation of job opportunities, we need more of skills training, so that ikiwa haujapata kazi or while you are waiting for work, you can actually create your own side businesses, skills. You can become creative on something and do something, from there. I think something like SACCO could also go into prisons and look on how they can have prisoners getting job opportunities. We could look into the aspect of how prisoners, while in prison, can do some jobs and get money making out of that, so that when they complete the prison, they can invest on the same money that they've made. So I think a lot of stuff is creating job opportunities for them, and maybe we could have some support from the communities that yes, we can welcome them back and they get to live their life or a second chance of their lives.
That's really amazing. Now, speaking of the vast experience that you have in all this, specifically mental health awareness, what is that misconception that always pops up in almost every case that you handle?
One misconception is that people don't change. So that is one very big misconception. The experience that you've had, probably this particular moment with someone, and probably you have a separation of something. After some years, when you sit down with the same person or with someone else, atakwambia the version of that person about 10 years ago. That person alikuwa akivuta sigara, alikuwa akivuta bangi. He used to take drugs. So don't trust such a person. Probably in all that years, the person has actually transformed and is actually helping others change their lives. You see? So one misconception that people actually have about mental health is that people don't change. And because of this one basic misconception, people end up actually not changing. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to be accepted. And the same thing is implementing to the prisoners. Mtu anafungwa, and when they come back, you have visualized that huyu alifungwa kwa sababu ameiba. So he's not going to change. So I'm not going to employ him. That is how they even lose jobs. That is how probably they don't have families. Someone ameingia kwenye prison because probably they've unfortunately murdered a relative, or maybe their wives. These cases have been increasing. That person akitoka tena, if a lady realizes that who alimuua mke, there's no way that she's going to get married to this.
There's no way.
And for a man, for a woman, you need married, or the other language I'd say, to have a sexual relationship. There's that sexual need, urge. That is why when you don't end up getting married, you end up having unlawful acts, to a point that you hold probably young children and molest them. So this is all because we've made marriage become even more difficult these days.
Oh, wow. So people do change. That is what I want you guys to carry home. Now, in the experience that you've had, where do you see? I know there are two ways these things can go. We can get to the negative side, which is 1:1 when it comes to the ratios of mental health. But I am an optimist. I believe we can get to 1:5. Now, tell us the directions we can take in both instances. If we continue doing this, we will get to 1:1. But if we take this path, we actually get to where we want to be, where is 1:5 at least.
See, Noni, I'll give you one practical example. Currently, when we go to school clubs, our school club, which is related to community service, has the least amount of students. Because people are not interested. this community service, I'll go to the community, what will I talk? Mental health issues, drugs issues, you know. You'll find clubs like probably music and football and others have so many students being filled in them.
Yeah.
Living around that, when you go back outside to the community, you post something, an appeal, or something related to the community in terms of donations or a video, and it's showing you actually how people live and go through. You'll find the views are probably 400, 600. The likes are probably a few of them. The important for us is views, not even the likes. But on the other hand, when you have something entertaining, you know, you will find millions of views. You see? So currently, and all these years of experiences, and we are still doing more research and about mental health issues, the basic thing is that we are not advocating at a younger age for people to realize that community service is a basic need. You see? We have our children, youngsters back in our homes. We don't indulge them with community service. Imefika weekend, they go to the beach, they go somewhere to play, and that's what they are doing. We need to involve them in organizations. Let them be part of that. I have my nephews and my nieces. Since the time they've been growing up, learning how to walk, I've been involving them in community service. My niece has so many awards, close to even what I'm almost going to get, you see? And to a point that I can visualize when she would be at my position, she knows actually that the community is in need and this is how they are supposed to be helped. Not just helping, there's the right way of helping. You see? How to help the community needs to be studied. Otherwise, we are wasting ourselves. See? And if we don't involve the youngsters at this age to help community, na tukaangalia that no, huyu bado ni mdogo, mwacha angalie studies, let the person go to church, let the person go to school and have all that knowledge. Akiwa mkubwa, they will serve the community. Trust me, this is through experience. They will not serve the community. And that is why the mental health statistics are going down and down. If we are trying to improve, and hopefully we are trying to make it increase, probably in the coming years, 1 is to back to 10. Or even 1 is to 1,000. Is when you involve the youngsters. And not youngsters talking about the teenagers. Those ones hata probably itakuwa kidogo ngumu. But the youngsters from the age of 5 years and onwards, involve them in community service. Let them learn how to serve others. When they grow up, that is the time that you realize people care about each other more and more. Saa hizi ukipita barabarani, there's someone ambao ameanguka chini, people get scared to approach.
True.
Juzi hapa outside my home, there's a guy well dressed, lakini ameanguka chini. He had, I think, diabetes or something. Alianguka chini kabisa. People were scared to approach that person. And because we are also trained in medical response, we went, checked, and the person actually had diabetes, called for ambulance and so on. People fear approaching, how we call them wendazimu, ama mad people at the roads. Many people, when you are walking and you find a mad person in front of you, you'll cross the road, go to the opposite side, cross back, and continue. Failing to realize that mad person, when you actually sit down with him, he'll have a conversation with you. But the visualization that we are having is that huyu nikimapproach atanifukuza na mawe. You see? So why? Because from our childhood, we are not having that heart to serve the community. So unless we train our kids from these younger ages to serve the community, the mental health issues or statistics will not reduce. You see? So once we train them, as they grow, as we continue community service, how many people In organization, volunteers go to serve the community who have their siblings at home. Why leave them at home? Take them along. You are actually investing in your own family.
Wow, wow.
We have a wrong mentality that investment is money. Investment is behavior. One of the best investment is behavior.
Wow, wow. Now, speaking of all those things, our parents, let me go back to our parents, the parents who raised the current generation. They never taught us how to be volunteers. They never taught us how to do community work. It was you go to school, you go to the mosque or church, you come back home. And that is how we grew up. And it was supposedly the right way to grow up. But here comes Dr. Rauf telling us that we actually need to serve the community because that is the only way we can be able to reduce these figures. And he goes ahead to write us a whole book on the same topic, how to be a volunteer. Now tell us, you've talked to us and told me that it will be hard for you as a teenager to join community service. But as a teenager, I'm interested. Tell me a little bit about this book.
Yes, I'm glad you even came across this book. I had kept it aside for some while because of ups and downs of community service. But this book is actually not just a novel or a storybook.
Yeah.
It's an instruction manual. That is what I normally portray it out. It's an instruction manual on how to serve the community.
Yeah.
And it actually shows you the basic needs that the community wants and how to solve and how to bring in long-term solutions than short-term solutions. When you go to the community and they have period poverty issues, people gather pads and they have a pad drive and they go donate one-time use pad. Leo may donate one-time use pad. The next month, who is going to help them? Leo may patia unga. The next month, who is going to help them? You see? So being a volunteer, it's not enough. This is through experience. You need to become a self-motivated volunteer. When you are a self-motivated volunteer, you are going to have your own adrenaline of energy. Many organizations, unfortunately, and this is also something that I've emphasized in the book, many organizations keep paid up casual workers in the name of volunteers.
Ooh.
Many organizations don't actually have volunteers. They have casual workers. How do you pay a volunteer? You cease to become a volunteer the moment you get payments. So there's nothing, and there's completely nothing as volunteer allowance. That's just an alternative name of casual wages or salary, you see. So in our system, what we do, if you're a volunteer, you are 100% volunteer. You'll provide your services. If transport allows, we would provide transport to the community. If transport does not allow, you would look for your own means of transport to go back to the community. This book, we've actually implemented it to some of the schools. When we go for the clubs, we teach them through the book. It talks about discipline. It talks about timekeeping.
Yeah.
As teenagers, when we want to serve the community, the teenager needs to actually know where to start from. Trust me, this book is going to show you where to start from. You see?
Yeah.
So this is involving everything, including also how to handle stress-related communities.
Yeah.
Because serving community is not easy. We have gone to communities where probably you are being returned back with your donations. Rudi nina your donations. We hatutaki your donation. Why? Because inside the communities you are dealing with different personalities. Some people are there to instigate others. So the moment you realize that the community does not need that donation, then the community is not in need. And probably you are going to the wrong community. You need to look or survey for the right type of community. So I think this book is actually very important.
Yeah.
And it took me 3.5 years
Wow.
to write about this book. It involves everything. I'd say the years of experiences that I've gone through, and that is what is written in this. My next book, probably coming up, is about narcissism.
Oh,
So narcissism is
I'm
something
waiting for
that,
that one.
narcissism is something that has really affected communities, and it goes hand in hand with mental health.
Yeah. True, true.
So I'm still gathering up more information. I like, this is a step that I've taken, which I feel is really important, to tell people the reality through research.
Yeah.
You know? Not just stories, but the reality of what is going on. And many of the times, organizations, we keep volunteers, different organizations. I've worked with almost 20 different organizations in one way or another. Many organizations have volunteers, but they end up becoming a burden for the organization. Many organizations have volunteers, but the volunteers don't grow. Many organizations have volunteers who have mental health issues, who don't have jobs, who don't have food at home, but the organizations go out to help others, while their own volunteers are actually suffering.
Oh, that's a very sad reality.
So we as organizations also need to see how we are handling our own volunteers. And as volunteers, we need to see if in that organization, are you actually growing? Ama ume volunteer at a particular organization for 10 years and you feel proud without any growth. And what has the growth taken you towards?
Yeah.
You see? Every year, coming years, you'll find new organizations being formed, new groups being formed. For what reason?
Yeah.
Why can't you join hands with others, you know, to make change in the community? So I think there's so much.
There's so much to learn from this book. Just to highlight a few things from the book, we have 11 chapters, and they range from time management to volunteerism, things like self-motivation. I didn't know that somebody can actually write something about self-motivation, to the point where we are talking about perfectionism and principles. So this is a very powerful book, and I am actually eager for my fellow youths, those who are now raised, being taught to do community service, to actually get a hold of this book. And that leads me to this question: where can they get it? Must they look for you personally?
So we have some bookshops within Mombasa that have this book, including Hakimi Stationaries, that is just opposite Safaricom, Moyo Avenue. We have a couple of other bookshops. I don't have their records at the moment. You can also reach us through our numbers, and we will do a delivery of the same books. We've so far sold out almost 500 books.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this book, along with other income generations, it's an example of an income generation activity. So when you purchase such a book, which we are giving at 1,500, besides the printing amount, all other amount goes into the community service. So as an organization, we survive through income generating activities. We have own delivery services, we have own catering services, we have games and activities that we do. We also provide trainings, although trainings we do them for free. And through this, the income that has been raised, we serve the communities.
Yeah.
You see? We don't have a staff system. We have just basic accounts and probably media. And the rest of the people that support the activities are all volunteers. We have some stakeholders, partners that we work with, whom probably we do their activities for, so that we can change the mentalities of others. We usually don't mention out their names, but we have trained so many organizations, so many of them, in governance and volunteerism. And so many of these organizations send their volunteers to us so that we could train them. You see, when you join an organization as a volunteer, you are not being trained. You are expected to volunteer. How can you volunteer?
With no information on what you're supposed to do.
So we train them about volunteerism, how to do it, so that when the organizations, when the groups go to the community, their volunteers actually know how to serve. They know what to do, you see, before being instructed something else. Self-motivation means mimi naweza kukaa behind the scene, do more work than the person who is actually in front of cameras. You see? So that is what we are looking at into self-motivation and things related to community service. Because without self-motivation, you're not doing community service.
True.
You're just basically showing off. And because of showing off, you end up doing a lot of contents which has no impact to the community.
That's very, very powerful. We have come to the end of our conversation. We do not call them interviews because we feel it is more of a conversation to see how we can impact the society and how the society can actually learn from the powerful people we bring on Life in Focus. So, Dr. Rafik, please give us your parting shot.
One quote that I usually use in terms of mental health and also helping others is from a famous, I'd say, an influencer called Jack Ma, who normally says that today is difficult, tomorrow it must more difficult, but day after tomorrow is beautiful.
Ooh.
Today is difficult, tomorrow is much more difficult, but day after tomorrow is beautiful. Many people will die tomorrow evening, meaning that we end up, just giving up. And at the same time, I'll give you another quote that, our life keeps on changing day by day. Just recently, there's a funny quote, but if you sit down and realize on that, it actually makes sense. Just because you never give up doesn't mean you're going to win.
Wow.
So many of the times, we think we are being motivated, but we are being kept out of the reality. We have to understand in these lives, there are some people meant to win, some people are meant to lose, but through losing, what are you going to learn? You see?
Yeah.
So there's a lot. I'd say let us all try and become humans. Let us all try and become humans.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was Dr. Rafik Rauf from Marafiki Aid Relief Africa, and we had a very powerful conversation with him from the activities Marafiki does for the community to what he does personally, on a personal level for the community. We've discussed issues to do with mental health, and I know if you are following us from the beginning to now, you have learned a lot. Remember, this is Life in Focus, and what we do here is bring you stories that are powerful, stories that will impact your life through the lens. I am going to leave you with a quote from Daktari that says, if tea can't solve it, it's a serious problem. I will repeat it. If tea can't solve it, it's a serious problem. That is the quote that is opening the chapter on stress management, chapter 7 of the book of how to become a self-motivated volunteer. My name is Miss Nani, and this is Life in Focus.